Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela, and I was going to do a tag today. I've actually seen several tags here last probably couple weeks, and because I've been so busy, they've just been piling up tags I wanted to do and haven't done them. So this one is, and then of course I get new decks in and I have to do those. To me, those are priority over the tags. So it's just been a thing. So this is, I can't remember her name, but it's hashtag Into the Woods decks. And I just had it. Jessie Chom, C-H-O-M. I will post her link below, when, I upload this, but it's a walk through the forest as an archetype for a spiritual journey. And, I thought about these prompts. There's 14 prompts, 12 plus 2 bonus prompts on here. And I really thought about it over the last week or so is when I saw this tarot tag about a week ago. And then today, as I'm pulling decks for this video, I changed my mind a couple times because I'm like, oh, this fits better because it's a deck I forgot I had or whatever. And, I realized not a lot of these are foresty type decks, even though that's kind of the point of the prompts was what decks will get you through in and out of the forest and help you in the forest. And I love the forest. It's my thing. I prefer the middle of the woods over, the beach any day. And it's funny because I'm devastatingly scared of snakes, but yeah, you would find me in the forest before you'd find me at the beach. I'm weird. Anyway, without further ado, let's get this going. There's 12 prompts plus 2 bonus, which I did all 14. So the first one is, who or what brings you into the forest? And the first word that comes to mind when I think about it is curiosity. And the deck that makes me think of the deck I got out of curiosity is the Wild Unknown. This is the Pocket Edition by Kim Krantz. Everybody knows this deck. I just bought it because I'm like, I want to see what the hype is. I love the backs. I love that it's small. And then I got it and I'm like, yep, the hype is real. It's every bit as, what do you call it? Look at that. Just stunning. Hold on. And I really just, it's got kind of a bow because this was a cold winter, so all my decks have kind of a little bow. Once I start using them and kind of bend them a little bit, they'll be back to normal. But, this deck was gotten out of pure curiosity, and I was just like, yeah, I want to check out what the hype is, why it's so hyped. I don't know why everything is, like, turned around here. But I love this deck. It's beautiful. Oh my God. I love it. It's beautiful. And this is the deck I thought of when I thought of why would you venture into the woods to begin with, out of curiosity. What's in there? And we all have, as humans, that curious nature, right? That we gotta know. So to me, that was the Wild Unknown. And of course, the Wild Unknown makes sense for that prompt. Number 2 is, who or what do you connect with here? And I got out my Native American Tarot by Los Scarabero. It's a tuck box. I told the whole story of when I got this deck. At the time I wanted this deck, I was looking for a Native American type deck. I had just went through this whole thing with the Kiowa Indian tribe. I've been having visions of a young Indian woman. And then something prompted me to get this book in my buddy's bookstore. And as soon as I did that, the visions I had been seeing of this young Indian girl were stories of a young Indian girl in this book. And I'm like, what? And right after that, I was looking for a Native American, deck to kind of, Spider, I've got him in multiple decks now. I was looking, and the artwork in this is stunning, stunningly beautiful, except the snakes. All the aces are rattlesnakes. And then when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I need that. And I got it in the mail. And the first part of it talks about the Kiowa Indian tribe. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So it was like a meant to be situation with this deck. This is like my ancestors in a deck. And if I was in a forest, what's the prompt again? Who or what do you connect with here? This would be what I would connect with. These ancient ancestor slash, because I have a lot of Native American in me. A lot of Native, this would be what I would connect with. This Native American, either ancestors or guides or whatever, because I really think that she's a spirit guide, not a relative. So that would be prompt 2. Prompt 3, who or what guides you through? And it was tough not to put the Native American tarot on like a lot of these. But I'm like, I can't use them for everything. So the one deck that has really, every time I get called to use it, it's because it's here to teach me something and guide me through a situation. And that would be my Journey of the Sacred Bee. This is in my top 5 decks ever. This is a more Thoth-based version. This is by Kelly Burton. This was her first Kickstarter indie version. Now she has 3 decks. The Wisdom of the Sacred Bee, which is a Oracle, and the Keeper of the Sacred Bee, which is a RWS-based tarot. But anytime, and this is an indie deck, if I didn't just say that, and I love the coloring in this deck. I love this deck. Anytime I need a full-on teacher, because I've said before many times, this deck is my Hierophant. This deck is the ultimate teacher. And I love that there's a Buddha and a fire dragonfly on the Hierophant itself. This deck is stunning. And every time I get called to work with it, I learn something new about me, about the world, about everything. And I'm just like, what? And that's why this deck just keeps coming up, and it keeps being in my top 5 because I'm forever learning from this deck. Love it. So that is the Journey of the Sacred Bee. So that would be my guide through the forest. Because they're not going to steer me wrong at all. So what was that? That was number 3. Number 4. Who or what is your mirror in the forest? And I pulled out the mini just because it was closer of the Light Seers Tarot. Just because I feel like Chris Ann, before we've never met. Before she even created this deck, somehow tapped into my brain and was like, it doesn't shuffle that well because it's the mini. It's so cute though. But I have the full size too. I don't have the independent version because I came into tarot. Look at the death card right on top. I just talked about that. And temperance. This is me in a deck. It's like she plucked out my brain and of what I had envisioned in a tarot deck and plopped it down. And this was it. I came into tarot after the indie was gone, before this came out mass market. And as soon as I saw it, I connected with it. I was like, I need that deck. Immediately got it. It was the 3rd tarot deck I ever bought. And it was like soulmates from moment 1. This is my one true love. If I ever have to give up all my decks, this will be the one deck I keep. That I will like, you will have to pry it out of my cold dead hands. But this to me is my mirror. This is me in a deck, period. And so, to me, when you say mirror, that's a reflection of self, right? And that's what I see is this deck in that question. So I have the Light Seers for that. Okay, next. Moving right along. Number 5, who or what created the forest? And again, I went for my mini because it was closer. I have the Mystical Shaman Pocket Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, Alberto Villalodo, and Marcela Lobos. This was one of the very first decks that I did ancestor work with. My favorite card right on top. Actually, it's with the Earth card. This deck is a deck, and I love how big they are. They shuffle perfect. There's the backs. It's by Hay House. So was the Lightseers, the mini, if you didn't know. Again, I feel like there's ancestor work here also. But, yeah, this is the first card I drew in this card, and it was talking about breaking family curses, and I'm like, yes. So, this deck feels like a deck that I've owned prior to when I owned it, even though that's impossible, because the deck wasn't created. It was created in my lifetime, but I didn't know about it till I got into tarot in 2019. So, there's my other favorite card, the Earth card, of course. I'm a Virgo, so it makes sense. But it feels like I've owned it for decades and lifetimes. And it so goes so deep with ancestor work that it's not just who created this forest. It's like the first people is what I feel in this deck. The first people that can give you all the answers to everything in the world. And I find it stunning and beautiful. And that is my answer. That's the only oracle deck in this video. But that is the Mystical Shaman Oracle. This is the pocket version I got on Amazon from Hay House. Okay, next we have number 6. What are the depths of the forest? The depths of the forest. The depths of the forest can get, dense, right? And dark. And there's not a lot of light. So I picked the Tarot of the Secret Forest by Los Carabero. This is my first ever shadow work deck. I did edge it in black. It's the smaller tuck box size cards. It has a black and white side and then a light side. No matter how you look at it, though, this is a dark deck. Oh my god, what is happening? This is a dark deck. And it's one of those decks that, look at the middle of the forest, 4 of coins, that you get in the dark brambles of the forest in the middle of it, and all of a sudden you're finding a whole new world of fairies and steps that go nowhere and trees that seem to speak to you. And that's what I see in this specific deck. It's so stunning, so beautiful, but it's got a dark, twisted, like old gates that there's no house left, but there's the gates left. This is what you find in the middle of an overgrown forest, right? These weird animals that you've never seen before, fairies, probably, old buildings that just aren't, they're forgotten. And, the things that you forget that haunt you, this deck brings that out. So. And that's what I see in this. It's the Tarot of the Secret Forest, because when you get into the middle of the forest, right, it can be like a finding a whole new world of things, because there's sometimes hidden things in the deep depths of the forests. So that was question 7. What do you do in the deep woods? And the first deck I thought of Hermit first. And then I'm like, what deck would I hermit with? And I pulled out my Gaian Tarot. I took the silver edges off and edged it in purple. Came out beautiful. I took the second border off because it had a blue border. The canoe is the Chariot, which is my soul card. And of course, Death here. This is also like what you would find in the forest. Old beat up cars or, boats. But a lot of these cards, it's somebody singularly hanging out in the woods or by themselves, doing things, or even just reflecting or self-reflecting, being in that hermit moment. And that's what I see in this deck. It's very much touchy-feely for me. It's a very watery deck, but it's one of those that you do alone. Like, you get in touch with self in this deck. Which is why, of course, this was the first card I thought of. Oh, look at that couch. First deck I thought of for this. And of course, look at that. Stunning. Hangman. This is, of course, the card, the Five of Water, the Five of Cups, the card I thought of, especially when it came to this question. I mean, there are a couple cards where there's some couples, people doing things, but for the most part, it's a card of self-reflection and being by oneself. And I just thought that was interesting. Beautiful. So that is the Gaian Tarot. That is my number 7. What do you do in the deep woods? You self-reflect, right? You become that hermit. That's what I would be doing anyway. That's what I would be doing. I probably should have thrown that out there, that I would be doing these things. So number 8, what do you learn in the deep woods? And I had a different deck, and then I'm like, oh my God, the only deck that could be is Transient Light Tarot. This is a Hay House deck also. I'm trying to speed it up. Because this deck also has a past, present, and future card in it. Past, present, future. Which, in this, what do you learn in the deep woods? This is, to me, what you would learn in the deep woods. The answers to everything. The answers to the universe. The answers to the past. The answers to the future. The answers to the present. This is where you find it, in the deep woods, in the quiet of the stillness of this moment, of this, you discover portals, you discover other worlds, you discover everything. And that, to me, is what the Transient Light, look at that chariot, love it. What the Transient Light brings to the table is, it's got all the answers to everything. And that's the deck I thought of in what I'm learning in the deep woods. Beautiful. I had the Stranger Things on here, but actually I think it was for the next one. I changed it. 9. What is the liminal in-between space? Yes. I had Stranger Things. I changed it to the Guardian Tarot. This is a Schiffer deck. Because to me, this is like other people, other beings. I edged it in these multiple purple and pink. It's stunning. And I see this as people, other beings living alongside of us. They just live in a different dimensional reality than us. They vibrate at a different frequency. Whether that's the dead or guardians or just tree people or whatever they are. This is what I see in this deck. So this is what lives between that liminal space for me. Is other beings, maybe even other worlds. So yeah. Number 10. Where is the clearing in the woods? And one of the best decks I have is the Universal Celtic Tarot. Stunning. 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 These are the backs. My favorite 8 of Swords. No matter how dark it gets, there's light somewhere coming from the moon or the snow or the sun or whatever. This deck, despite the fact that it takes place in the woods, is very light. There's light coming from somewhere, everywhere, and it's leading you out into the clearing and out of the forest. And I just think it's fabulous. And I love it. And it's one of my woodsy decks, or foresty decks in this prompt. Number 11, who or what can you bring with you or out of the woods? I've actually had a vision once where this is the Ferrant Printer Tarot by Los Carabero. This is my current shadow work deck. I had a vision once where I kept hearing whimpering in this, like, place that I had felt like I'd been there before. Like some kind of old ruined chapel. And I look in the corner and there's a small version of me, but all in black, tied up in chains. And I realized this was my shadow self. This was the part of me that I had allowed to be, I had chained up and not let out. But realize this is why I didn't feel things. This is why I seemed like the Queen of Swords at times, because I had chained all this up. This feeling and emotion and darkness that I have to learn to deal with. And this deck really hit home that for me. So this will forever be my shadow work deck. And I freaking love it. So that is number 11. that's what I would take out of the woods with me, is my shadow self, to help heal it. Number 12, how will you tell your story of your time in the forest? I'm going to reflect on it with beauty and grace and not talk crap. It is the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. It is so sweet. It's so cute. I'm going to say, you know what? I had a lovely time. There were some bumps along the way. But I had a lovely time. And that is what I see in this deck. The Ten of Wands is a hard card for me in this deck, because I'm like, what could possibly... She's got this beautiful castle or house behind her with smoke coming out. It's warm. It's inviting. What would possibly make her leave that with the baby and her food and her fox and her wands in the middle of the night? And it just... That question has always stuck with me seeing this deck. And I'm just like, ugh! It's horrible. But other than that, this deck is fabulous. I love it to pieces. It's so sweet. And I just love it to pieces. So this would be the card, the deck, how will you tell your story of your time in the forest? This would be exactly what I would say. It was sweet. It was lovely. There was some darkness along the way, but I overcame it. And yeah, that's that. So that's the regular prompt. So prompt 13, bonus prompt. What cards in the tarot represent the meaning of the forest to you, whether it be in meaning or art? And I got a couple cards here. What did I do with them? The first card I thought of was from my Sleepy Hollow tarot. The 9 of Wands. The 7 of Wands, just because it's creepy here. There's shadow beings watching. But the 9 of Wands, it also talks about courage and overcoming things. And the only other card, this is from my Universal Celtic Tarot, is the Strength card that I would talk about. Because it takes a certain amount of strength to wander into the woods and find that dark, shadowy self. And bring it back with you and take care of it and nurture it until it's no more. Until it dissolves into something else that's better for you. And I see that hardcore in the 9. It's like he's running from himself. And I just love that. Love it. So the last prompt is 14. What is your favorite foresty guidebook? I don't have a favorite foresty guidebook because I don't really read books. But the Bone Stone and Earthflesh Tarot by Evelyn Cameron, illustrated by Anatorium. This book is phenomenal. If I ever do a tarot deck and I have to write a book, she inspires me to be a better writer from this book. And this is why this is the answer to the last prompt in hashtag Into the Woods decks. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a great night.